Good morning, everybody. It's your Digital Falcon, Dr. Fidelio, and in this video training, I'm going to be showing you how to organize your videos that you have been recording using Screencastify and using Google Meet. So I'm really excited for me to show you how you can organize these in your Google Classroom. And often the question that we get is, where do my recordings go? After I use Screencastify, where do they go? And after I use Google Meet and I record my classroom meet, where does it go, right? So I'm going to show you where they go and then how you can organize them for your students, okay? So first things first is good morning and happy October 1st. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you didn't know, now you do. Pumpkin season is totally in right now. And so if you like Starbucks, they have pumpkin spice lattes right now that are just going berserk all over the place, like frozen frappuccinos, mocha lattes, all that stuff. So it's super, super cool. I never had a pumpkin spice latte, so I had it for the first time yesterday. And I don't know why I thought that it was going to be very like cakey, very like I guess like pumpkin pie-ish, but it was actually really good, and it was just a hint of pumpkin, and so it changed my life. So now that we know
Okay,
that,
that's crazy. You've never had pumpkin latte until yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah,
Where
until
have you been
yesterday.
living?
I know, under a rock, obviously, or under a pumpkin patch. I'm not really sure, but it was my first time trying it, and I was like, wow! And I got the small one, the tall, and it just changed my life. So I hope it changes your life too. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my Google Classroom. So I'm going to share my entire screen. They gave me 3 options to present: entire screen, window, and Chrome tab. Because I'm going to be showing you different windows and stuff, I'm going to share my entire screen, not just a window. And then I'm going to select the screen that I want, which is screen number 2. If you can give me a thumbs up if you can see my Google Classroom. Awesome, possum. Okay, so this is my Google Classroom. The first tab that's there is the Google Drive. If you're like me, you probably have a ton of folders already that are in there, and it's okay. It's like if you're inundated, I totally get you. We're in this together. When you record your Google Meet, so for example, this Google Meet session that I'm recording, it's going somewhere when I'm done, right? I clicked the record button when I kind of went in. I asked for consent. I gave everybody gave me a thumbs up for the consent, right? And then you're probably wondering, well, where does it go, right? So it actually goes in one of these folders here. And if you kind of go through them, you can see how they're sort of alphabetically organized, but more specifically, you're going to see Meet recordings. And so you can organize your folders a certain way by last modified, by name is what I like to do, because it kind of just gives everything to me in a nice little alphabetical organizational way. But you can see where it says Meet recordings. I highlighted it in blue. I clicked on it once, so it turned blue, but it's called Meet recordings. If I double click on that, it basically takes me to the recordings that I've done in my Google Classroom. Now, because I have a chat bar, and the chat bar right now is open for my students, which are you, my students, my class. I have it open so you can chat and you can kind of message me and all of that. If I went to my admin control, which is that blue shield at the bottom of my screen, and I'm the host, so I see it, you don't see it, but I see it on my side, I could disable that to where only I send messages to my students, and my students can't respond, but I can send messages to them, right? So anytime I engage in a chat, which is here in Google Meet, I will also get a Google Doc. And so if you look carefully here, you'll see how I have like counselor training, which is one of the videos that I did with the counselors. But then I also have a counselor training Google document. And if I double click on that, it's going to open up and it's going to say that I started the chat and that I dropped a link in there for the counselors, okay? So that's what I basically did in my Google Meet. For this other one, I have a Google Meet training, and then I have a Google Meet training document. And so if I double click on that one, it also opens up, right? Where you have all of my students' dialogue with me there in the chat in a nice little document, right? So you can see how, for example, Ms. Torres said, can students move the content around? I basically said I would paste it here. And so those are comments that the students and I are kind of engaging in. And so not only do you get a video, you also get a Google Doc, which is pretty awesome. You know, it's like the more you know. When I first did a recording of my Google Meet classroom, I was like, I don't know why there was a Google document in there. That's so like odd. And then I realized early on, okay, well, it's because that's the dialogue that was happening in my Google Meet. So, for example, right now, nobody has engaged in the chat, which means that when I'm done with this recording, if nobody engaged in the chat, right? If I didn't engage or any of my students engaged, maybe I locked it on my site too, then I'm not going to have a Google Doc. You'll only have a Google Doc if there's dialogue that's happening in the chat, okay? That's the only time you'll have it. So as an example, I have a Google Meet training here. I have 2 Google Meet training videos. However, only one of those has a Google Doc because nobody asked any questions and nobody kind of dialogued in the second session that I had, okay? Just wanted to share that with you so you wouldn't freak out when you saw the documents in here too. I freaked out completely. I was like, what is that? What is that, a transcription? Like, what is that exactly? It's not a transcription at all. So yeah, recording. One of the common misconceptions in Google Meet, and especially recording them, is you can turn on the captions for yourself. So you can, if I turn mine on my side, I can see and kind of see that little dialogue box at the bottom. I don't know about you, but that's how I watch Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Netflix, because there's some pauses in the movies where they'll be like, and I'm like, what did they just say? And it's like an you know, or like they'll pronounce something really funny. Like if I'm seeing something from like New Jersey, they'll be like, I just want a cup of coffee. And I'm like, what did they say? A cup of what? Like, you know, so I need to like kind of see the dialogue below. However, when you record it and you have the captions on, I will tell you this. When you record it, you don't get the captions in the recording. And so I know for like our Spanish teachers, they'll turn on the captions, and that's great and everything. But when they record using Google Meet, they won't get the captions. And so just be fully aware of that. Make a note of that. Also, the second thing with the captions is if you turn the captions on, they're only on for you right now. It doesn't mean that it's going to change. It could change in the future. But right now, those captions are only on for you, the teacher, not for the students. I kind of wish and I hope, I'm crossing my fingers, not my eyes, but I'm crossing my fingers that hopefully those captions will get turned on for the students. For the sake of our Spanish teachers and our English language learners, I think that'd be pretty awesome. But for the most time, I definitely want to show you that this is where the Google Meet recordings go. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my drive.
I have a question real quick. That
Sure.
folder is automatically created when you record a Google Meet, right? Like I don't have to make it.
No, yeah, absolutely. It totally created by itself. Yeah, 100% by itself.
Okay.
So for your teachers, it'll create by themselves too. And it's called Meet Recordings. I didn't even edit the title or anything. It's literally called Meet Recordings.
Okay, you know, just to share kind of a funny story.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Kind of a funny story. One of our teachers had the captions on,
Okay.
and the parents were cussing in the background, and it all came out on her captions.
Not cool. I know.
I know. And she was like, oh my God, because she thought the kids could see it too.
The kids can't see it. They
That's a good thing.
They can't. The teacher sees it on her side because her caption's on. If the child had the captions on, so for example, if the teacher said, okay, children, let's all turn our captions on, then they all would have seen it, you know?
Oh.
So yeah, and that's totally beyond our control, right? So yeah, I totally get where you're coming from with that. So yeah, the folder is called Meet Recordings, and that's for Google Meet. So if you are doing Screencastify, which is another application altogether, I'm just gonna throw this little pop quiz out there. What do you think the folder is called in your drive?
Screencastify.
Exactly, yeah, Screencastify. So I'm gonna go to my folder here, and it's called Screencastify, and I'm gonna again change it from last modified to just name. Give it a couple seconds for it to kind of populate itself. There it is. and then I can see where I have Screencastify right here. So I click on it just once, and there it is. So I'm gonna double click on Screencastify, and oh gosh, I have a lot of Screencastify recordings, okay? So I've really taken to Screencastify only because it's really easy to use. And before we got Screencastify for the district, and that being teachers and students, I only had this one program, and it was called, it wasn't called Screencastify. I think it was called Chrometastic or something like that, right? And you were very limited in some regards. Like you weren't able to record and then have it pushed automatically to the Google Classroom or the Drive. And this one creates a folder for you automatically. This one is called Screencastify. And so what I love about Screencastify is that we also pay for that editing feature. So if I click on my little apps at the very top, these are my little extensions for Chrome. If I click on my Chrome extensions, I should be able to see the little box pop up. Are you able to see this little pink box pop up? Awesome. Okay, so again, you have your browser tab, your desktop, and your webcam only. These are the ways that you can use Screencastify. But to see your recordings, you can also see them here too. So you don't have to go to the Drive. You can click on the pancakes, but you do have to be like in that little extension. Click on the pancakes and then go to My Recordings. And you can also see them housed here, okay? So for whatever reason, if you don't see them or you don't like the way they look here, you can go to Screencastify and they're here as well, okay? Just an FYI, if you delete your videos here, they will not be deleted over here, okay? So you do have to do like a double delete kind of process, okay? So just FYI. That also might change. So if it does change, I will definitely communicate that to the strategists, the media specialists, and have them kind of push that information out. As you know, technology is constantly evolving, and so that's one of those things that right now, this is how it's working. Okay, so now that we have our recordings and we know where to find our recordings, we have Screencastify here, and then we have our Meet, right? So the exciting thing is that now we have our classroom. So here's my Google Classroom. Traditionally, from what we're seeing right now, is our teachers are recording their class meets or their meet sessions with their students. And the meet sessions are maybe 30 minutes to an hour or over that, right? And so those are long video recordings that are being recorded, right? Granted, our recording right now is going to be maybe 30 minutes long, but those teachers that we have are recording an entire class session. And so those sessions are anywhere from 60 minutes to a little bit past that, right? And so when they record it, how do they kind of put it in the classroom and how do they organize it? And that's where we kind of want to have this discussion, right? So what I was recommending to teachers was that they go to classwork. And as you can see here, I have little topics. These little items that are in bold are called topics, and they're in my classroom. And I made one called Meet Recordings, okay? So to create a topic, all you have to do is click on the plus create, and then you go to topic, and then you can give it a title. The title that I gave this one was called Meet Recordings. If I want to change it and add like an emoji, I can change it and I can rename it. And I can add an emoji right there. Secret to add an emoji, you can do it if you have your iPhone or your Google phone and you have the Classroom app. You can do it on your phone that way. You can rename the topic. But if you're on your computer, you're probably thinking, well, how do I find emojis on my computer, on my keyboard? So there is a cool trick. It's Control period. And when you do that, you can type in, like, for example, film, and then you have different types of emojis, and then you can just click on that, and there it is. So I'm going to rename it Meet Recordings with that little emoji of a film strip. And then now I'm going to click on Add. Now there's two ways to drop the video links in here, okay? Two separate ways. I'm going to show you the first way, which can get really messy, but still very organized, okay? Remember, we're in week 3, or we're almost like to the end of week 3, okay? So if the teachers are recording every day, all right, week 4, right? So if they're recording every single day, how many days do you think we're going to have? How many video links? 20 links, you know? we're gonna have like 20 links. So if we're gonna have 20 links, that's a lot of links. That's a lot of scrolling down for the kid, right? So there's two ways of doing it. You can go to material, which I recommend. So you go to plus create, again, plus create material. And then you can title it however way your teachers want to title it, or however way you want to title this. This could be week 4, day 1. However way you want to title this, it could be class period, right? So this could be your creative title, however way. Now, the most important thing here is that you definitely want to be consistent, right? So whatever way you title it, the next video after that, be consistent with how you title it, and make sure that it's a little bit different so that a parent or a guardian can tell, okay, this video link is for October 1st, or this video link is for September 30th. And so you really want to be consistent with how you label the title there. The description is optional. You can give it a description and you can say, okay, class, if you missed the synchronous session today and you weren't face-to-face with me virtually, then watch this video and you can give some instructions there. Okay, that's a great space for you to provide instructions. Now, the last part that you want to do here, and this is again the first option still, we're still on the first option, is you go to add, and then you go to Google Drive, because remember our two folders, right? Screencastify and or Google Meet, those are in our Google Drive. So you're going to go to Google Drive here, and we're going to change this from recent to my drive. Again, from recent to my drive. And then we're going to scroll down and we're going to look for Meet Recordings. Double click on that. Here's my counselor training video, and we're just going to pretend this is like my algebra class, period 1, or this is maybe like an algebra unit that I have or something like that. So I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to click Insert, and it populated for me right there. Maybe I had a 5-minute little Screencastify that I want to share with my students as well, apart from the recording of the class. To do that, I would just click on that little paperclip tool, add again, go to Google Drive, because remember, everything is in my Google Drive, right? My two folders, Screencastify and Google Meet. I'm in there. I'm going to switch this over from recent to my drive. And now I'm going to look for my Screencastify folder. And there it is. Double click on it. And I'm going to choose this one right here, my Google Meet intro video. And I'm going to click Insert. And so those are my two videos. So notice how I'm able to drop in a Screencastify. And I'm even able to drop in a video from Google Meet, okay? And then I can click on Post. Now, before I click Post, class, I want to show you how I can put it under a topic, which is going to be my Meet recordings, right? But more specifically, let's say I have students that I need to differentiate instruction to. So for example, let's say there's specific students in here that need that second video, okay? That second video that I have here that really breaks it down for the students. Then I can go to where it says all students, and I can open this tab up and I can deselect all my students. So I'm going to do that again for you, okay? So I'm going to open up the tab. All my students are naturally selected. But if I only want to send this, video links to my specific student population, I can deselect all students and I can select the ones I need. So for example, this is going to go to Donald Trump and this is going to go to Mr. Biden. Okay, so those are the two students that this is going to go to. And these are the two students that need a lot of help right now. So, and then I click on Post. And again, it gets sent to those two students only, right? There is a new feature that's pretty awesome. And I think that you can definitely take advantage of this new feature. And it's this little triangle right next to Post. So before you post it, there's that little triangle that's pointing down. If you click on it once, you can even schedule that post. So let's say you don't want to post it right now. You want to post this on Friday. You want to post it on Friday, or maybe you want to post this on Wednesday. So you can strategically choose the time and the date that you want to schedule this post. I just want it to post right now, okay, for those two students. So I'm going to click Post. And it's going to take me back to my classroom. There I am. And you're probably wondering what many teachers wonder, and they say, well, I see, it's called your creative title, right? But I see the Meet recordings there for Biden and for Trump. Do the rest of the students see it too? And the answer is no, only Biden and Trump see my creative title, your creative title video recordings. None of the other students see it, okay? In fact, Biden doesn't know that Trump sees it, and Trump doesn't know that Biden sees it. So it's just those two students that we have that see the creative title, okay? So nobody else sees it, so it's very personalized in that respect, right? So we can continue doing this, and we can have a ton of material, so to speak, with a lot of links. So you can already imagine, this is just one day. So if we have 20, 30, 40 links of these, it's gonna get kind of bunched up in there, right? Like we can tell already. And again, we know that we're learning and we're growing every day. And so that's one option. The one option is you do that, and then when it's time for you to maybe archive or delete it, you can click on the 3 dots and you can delete the video Meet recording, okay? The entire little set. So you can delete them just to kind of keep them consistent. I'm going to be sharing with the library media specialist tomorrow at one of our meetings some strategies. These strategies can work for you, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. Some of those strategies could be maybe you have your Meet recordings there in this manner. And option 1, this is option 1. I'm going to show you option 2, but maybe you have your recordings this way under option 1 for maybe 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks, you start deleting them, right? You're always going to have the recordings in your My Drive. So if ever a parent or a guardian or even a student says, I need to see that video link again, I need some redirection, re-instruction, you can always find it there. But do you really need to have all of them in your Google Classroom? I don't really think so. So just know that if you need to delete them, you can delete them maybe on a 2-week window. For our secondary teachers, those of you that are in 6th, 7th, and 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, I would consider and be very considerate with the idea that maybe you have an exam tomorrow on Friday. So maybe you do want to have all 40 links loaded up there, right, for your students. So just be considerate and leave them open for the students if they want to kind of rehash some of that instruction that you gave earlier in the year. So you have that there. So that's option 1, right? Option 1 was you go to plus create, and then you go to material. You give it a creative title. You go to the add, and you go to Google Drive. So that's option 1, right? And then you add all your items in there, okay? So now we're going to do option 2, okay? And option 2 could be also the answer or the solution to some of the hiccups that you might be experiencing with overload of the links, right? So option 2 is you go to docs.google.com, and you don't have to type that in. You can literally just go to the plus sign and then click on the waffle and then click on docs. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. You don't have to go and type this in. You can go to docs and it'll push you there automatically, okay? So there's 2 ways to get there. So you're on docs right now. You can go to plus create, but we have some templates in here too, and I would really take advantage of these templates. They're pretty awesome. I really like the class notes one. It's so cool. It's just organized beautifully for you, okay? So I'm gonna click on this one, class notes. And as it says, it's playful. It's a playful document. I like to consider myself as very playful too. So I'm going to change this from class notes to class videos. And I'm going to put the date from, I'm just going to put this out there and say this is from 9. Oh, I totally went forward into the future. 9/4/2020 to 10/1/2020. And so these are the videos, right? And so if I was in elementary, this is where I could kind of break down the videos if I needed to. Let's pretend I'm secondary. So I'm just going to delete all this. And now that I have that there, I'm going to start hyperlinking. And so this Google document right here, class, will actually get embedded in my Meet recordings. And so instead of having 40 different links, I'm going to have 40 links on this Google document here, okay? And I'm basically going to add it as an assignment if need be, or I can add it as material. So I can add it however way I want into the Google Classroom. So to do that, I'm going to first start putting in some links in there, right? So I'm going to title this first link maybe 904, right? So 904 class session. I'm going to highlight this, and then I'm going to click on Control K for King. Control K. That's a little shortcut to make it get that little hyperlink box, right? So Control K for King basically gives you that hyperlink. You can also do it by highlighting it and then clicking on that little chain link at the very top right there that says Insert Link, but it also tells you that that shortcut is Control K as in King. So you can click on that too. Okay, so now I need to find my video link, right? So I'm going to go to my drive, and we're going to pretend right now that, let me organize this again so I can see everything by name. And we're going to pretend that this video right here is my 9/4 class session, my September 4th class session. We're going to pretend. So I'm going to right click over it. I'm going to get share. After I share it, I'm going to click copy link. Go back to my video links. And then I'm going to click Control V as in Victor. Control V, which means paste, right? So I'm going to click Control V. It's right there. I can see the link. And then I'm going to click apply. So then my video is already embedded there. So my video could be embedded there. The same way I have my videos here, it would be like on one document, okay? So now I'm going to add another one, right? Like 905 class session. Again, highlight it all. Pop quiz. What do I click to get that hyperlink, that shortcut? Control K as in King, right? So Control K as in King. And then I go back to my Screencastify folder. I'm going to grab this one, share, copy the link, go back to my class videos, and then Control V as in Victor, and I'm going to paste that. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to highlight these, and I'm going to just copy them all the way down. And we're going to pretend that these are several links with several different days, just for the sake of time, just so that you can see that. I am going to rename this class videos. And it's basically saved for me already. And so now that it's saved, what I can do is I can go to File, and I can go to Move. This is actually a really cool feature, so check this out. I can go to File, Move, and I can move this to the folder that I want it to be in. So if I go to Classroom, I have all of my Google classes here, right? I'm strategically going to look for my class file. And so I'm looking for my film class, which it should be here. I obviously have a lot of classes. I'm getting closer. Okay, I might have passed my class. Oh, there it is, film class. Sorry about that, it's called film class. I'm gonna click on that, click inside, and I'm gonna move it here. This item will be visible to everyone who can see film class. So I'm gonna click move. Why would I wanna move it to my film class? Well, I probably wanna move it there just so everything stays organized in there for me, okay? Remember, every class that you have, so I believe everybody that's in this session has a Google Classroom. You have a Google Classroom folder, okay? So just FYI. So this file is in my Google Classroom folder. So now I'm going to add this file, class videos, to my Meet recordings. So I'm going to go to the plus create. I'm back here now, plus create. I'm going to go to material. And I'm going to just title this class videos. I'm going to give it a description. If you miss a class, please check this document for our latest video links. And then I'm going to go to add, because everything is in my Google Drive, right? I'm going to click on Google Drive. It's in the cloud. And then I'm going to change this from recent to my drive. But because it is recent, you can see it right there too. Okay, so because we just recently edited it, you can see that it's right there. So I'm going to go to that, click on it once, and then click on insert. It's right there for me. I can post it again to all of my students or selectively choose the ones that need to see this. And I'm going to add this on a topic under Meet Recordings and then click Post. So class, here is my class videos document. And it houses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days worth of video links. So kind of imagine 12 links, or I should say 12 of these right here, where it says creative title, Meet recording. So 12 of those kind of going down. As we can see here on this one page, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 little links here. So can you imagine 12? That would be a lot of scrolling for our kids and even our parents, right? So just be fully aware of how you want to do this. As like I'm saying this earlier, if you're probably thinking, well, why didn't he tell us this earlier, right? Well, every day we learn and we grow, right? So this is one of the latest newfound best practices that I've found and I'm sharing with you. Again, this class videos Google Doc is updated by you. You're the only one that has the editing rights to it. So today, after this Google Meet session, I could really go in here and I could add the new link, okay? If my students need redirection, reteaching, or if they miss today's session. So again, 2 ways. The first way is by dropping it in there. And the second way is by adding it into your Google Doc. So there's 2 separate ways of doing this, okay? So I'm gonna stop sharing with all of you really quickly so that I can see what you have. I'd love to get your input from this. Ms. Galvan, how are you? What do you think about all of this? My life.
Good morning.
I apologize. Good morning.
It's fine. Good morning. Actually, I wish I would have known this sooner because right now my Google Classroom is like you say, it's a bunch of videos, and so I'll do that this coming week for my videos.
Yeah, and I think that it's still early. I mean, we're still obviously growing, and then you can definitely change it. And I mean, it's the first. The progress reports have just been sent out, or they're now electronically for the parents. So really, it's a perfect time, I think, still to kind of add this and say, okay, we're going to remove the recordings and we're going to add them over here. Your recordings are always going to be in your 2 folders, Screencastify and Google Meet. So they're always going to be there. If you're doing Zoom right now, I know there's that transition period. So if you're doing Zoom and you're transitioning to Google Meet right now, and you record your Zoom, that does not go into the cloud necessarily. It gets pushed into zoom.us, and then you can download it. There is kind of like a process there. You can download it and then drop it into your drive. And there's a longer process with Zoom, but it can record for you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
When does Zoom expire for us?
Right now, I was told that there was a time frame of, I want to say November. I don't think that it's going to expire. I just know that there's a transition period. Okay. And so it's a very fluid transition period. There was an email statement that was sent out by Mrs. Stumbaugh. So principals are trying to help teachers do that transition because we know that there's Google Meet updates that are taking place. In fact, yesterday we did have a little bit of a hiccup with Google Meet. It was a real small micro outage, like maybe 2 to 4 minutes. And I'm going to be super transparent. We were like, okay, it's a 2 to 4 minute, more or less, outage that we experienced. And it was considered like a micro outage, small enough for neighboring districts to say, yeah, we experienced that too. Part of that outage came because they are looking at doing some updates. And so I'm going to share, you can still, well, let me share my screen again. Let me present now all of my screen. And I'm going to choose screen 2 again. This is one of the things that we've been looking at strategically and carefully. The Google Meet attendance, okay? So this is one of the big ones that is supposed to be released in October. And they were trying to release it early in September. And yesterday, as you can see, or the 29th, they did pause it because there was an evaluation report on their behalf that they were looking carefully at. And I do think that anytime they have little updates, we do experience those little glitches right before. So we are kind of looking at that carefully right now. But that's really going to be awesome because you'll be able to do your Google Meet. At the end of your Google Meet, you'll be able to get a full report of who was there and when they checked out and when they checked back in. So like, for example, let's just pretend that Ms. Galvan lost signal. She jumps out, she jumps back in. It'll show that she was in there for maybe 20 minutes and then left and then came back. So pretty cool stuff is coming. We're just anxiously waiting for these updates to take place. Well, thank you all so much. Give me 1 second. Before you leave, I definitely want to take a selfie. So don't leave just yet, okay? Let me stop recording.